Hello everyone, hello from Brussels and from the European Development Days. My name is Isabel and I work for Bayer, and I'm here in Brussels at the European Development Days. As you know, these days, during 2 days, there come the whole global community from the global development community to share ideas, experiences, and try to solve the world's most pressing challenges. We at Bayer, we look particularly at one challenge. As you might know, by 2050, the world population will be nearly at 10 billion. So how will we actually end food insecurity? And how can we increase food production? With this number, we would need to increase food production by at least 50%. But actually, there's one problem. Less and less people, especially young people, consider a career in agriculture. So at Bayer, we had the idea to create the Youth AgSummit, the Youth Agriculture Summit, which brings together every second year students from all over the globe. And today, I'm really honored to be with two delegates of the last Youth AgSummit, which actually took place in Brussels in last October. So they will share with us the experience, what their experiences in the world of agriculture, and what they did during the last summit, where they shared and generated new ideas and innovative solutions to tackle the food security challenges in the world. So, maybe you want to introduce yourselves? Ebba, you want to start?
Yeah, so hi, I'm Ebba Engstrom, and I'm from Sweden, and I represented the Nordic team when I was at JAS in October. And I have a background in biotechnology from the University of Edinburgh, but I'm currently studying an MPA in Development, Technology and Innovation Policy. And my interest in food security really lies in, really facilitating innovation towards creating food security, but also focusing on it in new aspects of also within cities and making sure that we can create sustainable solutions under urbanization, and also raising education and bringing in more interdisciplinary individuals into the sector.
Great. Carla, what about you?
My name is Carla Espinos, and I'm from Spain. My background is also in biotechnology, as Eva's background. I have done my bachelor's in biotechnology in the Polytechnic University of Valencia, and my interest in food security and food waste is just trying to raise people awareness and make a social shift to try to promote the zero waste and zero hunger.
Great. So, well, today already at the European Development Days here in Brussels, we heard top players of the global development community speaking. First of all, we had, of course, the President of the European Commission, Jean-Claude Juncker, talking. I think you heard him. Other commissioners, members of European Parliament, even the Queen of Spain was around here. And the President of Liberia and Burkina Faso is here. Many others, also international organizations like UN and UNICEF. And, well, there are actually, all in all, 120 sessions going on during the 2 days. Here we are at the Global Village, it's called. And actually you and your summit, you have a stall here. So I guess this is a pretty exciting experiences for you to be here and have your own booth. So I don't know, you want to share a bit how this is for you?
Yeah, sure. It was like a full morning full of events. We had so many things to do, a lot of speeches, and all the speakers were super inspiring. And they were really helpful because you can approach to them like in the global village or maybe after the speech. And they were really, really helpful. We have made a lot of contacts for future directions of your project or your personal or academic or job life. And I really like it. I enjoy it a lot. And Eva?
Yeah, I really enjoyed the participatory aspect of this summit or the Development Days event. Because, I mean, what we see in the panels and what we see in the workshops is that everyone is able to raise their voice and raise their concerns in regards to gender empowerment. And I think it's so good to hear so many different voices, and not only from speakers, but that we're actually able to challenge the speakers and bring up issues.
Yeah, that's true. So, as I said, you represent the Youth AgSummit. And during your stall, just tell us a bit more and tell the viewers a bit more what is going on at your booth. Do the visitors, what do they think of the booth? What do they learn when they come to visit you there?
So, I mean, to begin with, we tell them about what we do and what we represent in terms of food security and action within a youth platform where we bring youth and empower youth to take charge within food security and engage them in food security issues. And what we drive is more to also encourage people to think around the space of food security and what they themselves can do. And that comes, through a kind of process of massive small change. People have to take initiative, and through that we see empowerment when we see change. And I think it's on an individual level you can do so much. Yeah.
Yeah, well, they can come whenever they want. We are stall 92.
91.
91. Wow, 91 is the last one. And we have a photo booth. They can write down their 3 little things and take a picture. And they can also sign up on our newsletter, and they will be updated with everything about the Youth AgSummit. So I encourage everyone to come.
Maybe more on these 3 little things. So we talked about tackling this challenge of zero hunger. So and how to feed actually a hungry planet. So you came up with these 3 little things that everyone can do in its daily life or within its community, within the family. They can pledge these 3 little things to I don't know to tackle food waste, etc. So can you tell us more about that? What that could be, or what also the visitors, what have they put down?
Yeah, I think it comes down to a lot of personal consumption level, like how you actually interact as a consumer in supermarkets, like that you take care and that you actually look at where food comes from. Because nowadays we're quite distant from food production. We don't necessarily look at whether our food is coming all the way, from New Zealand when we live in the UK or in Belgium or whatever. And that's important for us to take that step, but also, how to think about how much food we're wasting. And those are things you can do yourself. I'm one of my 3 little things. I was doing that within my own academic community. So my focus was on actually investigating urban agriculture, and I was really inspired to do that after the Youth AgSummit, and that's what I've done. I wrote a big term paper on urban agriculture, for example, in Lusaka in Zambia. So it's personal things that can come from this.
Yeah, great.
In my opinion, it also depends on the context where you are living and the interactions and relationships that you have with your city and your family and your friends. For me, they were a little bit different. They were, for example, advocating new generations, because I really think that children are the main directors of future and social change and so on. But yeah, there were several different 3 little things. Some of the participants wrote down recycle, which maybe for you is really obvious, but for other people in another city is not so obvious. So they were different but all equally valuable.
Yeah, exactly. So thanks a lot for sharing your experiences with us. And actually, we do not only have Ebba and Carla with us, we have 3 more delegates from the last year's summit. So thanks a lot to you. And may I ask the others to come up to the stage?
Thank you.
Thank you so much. So in the meanwhile, the online viewers, they can think about their own 3 little things that they can commit to every day, because 3 little things for each and every one of us makes a lot of little things and a big change, I guess.
Definitely.
So, hi and welcome to all of you. Might I just ask you to quickly introduce yourself in maybe 1 sentence?
Okay, I'm first. No, ladies first.
Yeah, of course. That's the motto today.
So hi, my name is Sophie Healy-Thow. I'm 20 years old. I'm from the south of Ireland, and I'm just finished my first year of college studying international development and food policy.
Hi, I'm Cassie Hayward. I'm in my 3rd year of university, and I'm 20 years old. I'm going into my 4th, and I am majoring in political science and sustainability.
Hi, I'm Juan Casadiego. I am from Colombia. I'm 22 years old, and I just finished my bachelor's in management in Colombia.
Good, thank you. So, well, now we also have 1 man here because we didn't want to be discriminatory. But as you know, the focus of this year's European Development Days, it's on women and girls at the forefront of sustainable development. So why do you personally think this is a good motto and this is important? Let's start with the man. Okay,
I think if we bring policy and debate around sustainability and development and include gender equality, which is the SDG number 5, it definitely help to tackle food insecurity issues around the world, because actually up to 70% of farmers are women, and that's a very high number, and we're talking about agriculture. And also there's a recent study of the UN that says that if we empower women in the agriculture sector in the same basis as men do, we can eradicate hunger, basically. So why not to talk about policy? Because we need to enforce law frameworks, and in that way we can take action surrounding agriculture.
Yeah, that's a very important point.
As Juan points out here, there's so much development that can occur within just the singular agricultural field, and this is just the statistics we know because this is what we care about. But women and girls are involved in every industry and every sector in the world, and especially in the European Union. So if we can have this much empowerment in just the agricultural industry, what can we do when women are empowered and girls are empowered and they get involved in other sectors? We're going to see dramatic changes and dramatic increases. So the fact that this is the focus of what we're doing here today is so important, especially because sometimes we forget that even in developed nations, gender inequality exists. So I feel like the emphasis of this event today is so important going into the future.
Yeah, and I think it's so important for, even on a higher scale in organizations and NGOs, that it's so important to have that gender balance. And I think with gender comes power issues and power dynamics as well that really need to be adjusted and completely changed and eradicated. So I think empowering women to just be themselves rather than demand something from themselves and from other women. If women work together for each other, it makes such a huge difference.
Yeah, we're talking about the Youth AgSummit that you attended last time. Did you work on specific topics like that, or on concrete projects that involve, women empowerment in agriculture? Can you share more details on that?
Well, we had a very busy agenda 7 months ago here in Brussels. It was very interesting because besides the keynote speakers, the panels, and that, we also had breakout sessions where we were divided in groups by 10 people. Different nationalities, different backgrounds, and it enriched the conversation and dialogue. And we were given certain SDGs to work on, but the main issue was hunger. So how do we use these SDGs to tackle food insecurity? So we were assigned actually the SDG number 5, as I was saying. So how can we end hunger by empowering women in agriculture and in all the scope? So we had the opportunity to work in these breakout sessions, and there was in the end we presented our projects, and we were the winners actually. Our group won with the project contest, and it's an idea which we are developing right now.
Tell us more.
You can
share details.
Yeah, so the three of us sitting here right now, we're part of a 10-person group. It's called Agricola. So our pitch at the AgSummit, which we've continued to work on, is the idea that as 10 young people from around the world, from 18 to 25, it's so easy to get caught up in this is all the stuff we can't do, but instead we kind of flip the conversation around and say, okay, what can we do, and what is going to be most impactful? Because the conflicts and constraints between our group was so real, because we're 10 people from literally around the world. We fit into 7 different time zones. Juan and I are on one hemisphere, everybody else is on the other. So there's so many problems and constraints that instead of focusing on all that, we were able to push it aside to be like, what young women and girls need is education. So for us, one of our lovely group members, Rispa, who isn't here with us today, she's from Kenya, and she really wanted us to pilot a project in Kenya. And we were like, you know what? You know best. We're going to do it. That's where we're going to pilot our project. So Agricola is going to be an online platform that's dedicated to educating young women going into post-secondary education. The reason why we do this is because we recognize that as young people, and without all of us being on the ground, it's almost impossible for us to reach the level of poverty that gender equality really needs empowerment. So we as people, especially as a North American, I can't just go in and fix those problems. No. So what we can do is we can empower young women who do have access to post-secondary to go back and become leaders in their own communities. So we plan to do that by creating an online platform that focuses on education around business, agricultural, and legal practices within their own communities. So it's all about what is indigenous to their area, because we don't want to impose any sort of agricultural or or business or legal information that's not relevant to them or isn't helpful. This platform is also going to focus on scholarship opportunities, funding opportunities, internship opportunities, partnerships, but most importantly, we're going to try to reach out to female leaders who already exist in the community and have mentors, because as a young woman, especially in a country where there's a lot of stigma around agriculture, it's so important to have those leaders who already exist to help you get through it. And for us, like at the AgSummit, we met so many people who are even just a little bit older than us, but have so much more experience that we were able to be like, okay, we look at these people as mentors, and it helped us so much. So we're hoping that this platform can really do some good, and we've made some headway since 6 months ago. So
we've actually reached out and made partnerships already. For example, Risper, who is absolutely amazing, she's doing a lot of the groundwork within Kenya, and she's reaching out to universities and talking to students who are in universities and who might be interested in a platform like this. But we also made a partnership with 4H Kenya, because they already have the tools, they're based in Kenya, so with their knowledge and expertise, we're really able to make Agricola known in Kenya alone. But what we'd be looking for in future partners are organizations who are not-for-profit, and organizations who just really have women leadership and agriculture at the heart of what they do, because that's what we're all about, and that's what we want our future partners to be about too.
Yeah. And you also, I heard you want to scale up, so not only stay in Kenya, but then once it's successful there, maybe reach out to other countries, right?
Yeah. So our idea there is that we also recognize that as 10 people from around the world, it's very hard for us to keep updated on what's going on. And as we know, the agricultural field is constantly expanding and growing, especially in different parts of the world. So for us, it's important that we leave the platform with a university to develop on their own, and then we'll restart again somewhere else. Because each platform has to be unique to the local community, or else it's not going to be very, very useful to people. Internships in Kenya may not be super helpful for somebody who's living in Sudan or somewhere else. So we really need to be able to recreate this platform in a sustainable way, because otherwise, if we were just to continue using it, it's not sustainable. We can't invest that time. So the universities that we're looking at now are quite interested in maintaining this platform after we leave it, so we can build another one and kind of seed it in another university. So that's kind of our sustainability idea with keeping the project going.
Great. And this is just one of the many great innovative projects that the Youth AgSummit has produced and will still produce in future. And we as Bayer, we are of course extremely proud to help you with funding and any support you need. So, but let's, because you were talking about mentorship of women, I mean, if we talk about a career in agriculture, and I mean, these kind of mentors or like role models, they're extremely important, because I mean, now, what did we hear today? Average age of a farmer is like 65. It's mainly a male world. Young people like us, they think it's a boring environment. Why should they consider a career? So actually, you little advocates, we need you to actually bring more young people in agriculture. So what do you think this is something you could aim for, or you would like other young people to aim for in their
Yes,
careers?
I would say like nowadays young generations are more focused on different things, but we are forgetting like where we come from and something really basic as food. I'm not only thinking that because I think it's a cultural thing too, like being in the agriculture sector means like you will get a low salary, or you won't be like a successful person, but that's completely like a lie. There are a lot of opportunities around agriculture, and for me, like a lot of people asking me in my country, if you study management, why are you engaged in agriculture? And I was like, agriculture is management. Like you can see everything in agriculture. So we have to first like change our mindset and just believe on this is the future, like feeding ourselves. If we do not like create sustainable models, we probably won't exist in the next 50 years or so. So let's think in something that needs people, and it's a great opportunity to young youth actually to get engaged into whatever your background is. And so it's an opportunity, I think, if we are empowering women, not only universities, but these women will create and dynamize the economies where they are, so new opportunities will be generated with it, hopefully.
Yeah, I think it's so important to highlight like the lack of excitement that seems to be around, especially for young people. I think there's a lot of stigma around agriculture due to long-standing beliefs and stereotypes of what a farmer means. But I think that us as young people really want to emphasize the fact that agriculture and the whole field is on the forefront of an entire new era. You're looking at new technological advances. You're looking at new management. You're looking at all sorts of brand new techniques that our generation has to create and forge. So there's a huge demand for young people, and young people, we also hear the problem of like not finding jobs in the fields that they're looking for. Maybe they're just looking in the wrong field.
They should be looking in the field.
Yeah, maybe they should be looking in the field. Yeah, because agriculture is going to desperately need young people. We need people who are excited about food, about feeding people, because this is like the commitment that's going to be needed.
It's completely intersectional. There's agri-tech, agri-business, agri-marketing, agri-development. There's so much that you can do in agriculture, and what people see when you instantly say agriculture is a farmer, probably a middle-aged man, standing in a field with a bunch of cows. I mean, that's what I saw about 5 years ago, and now I see a completely different sector of the world that I had no idea existed. Yeah. Yes. And I think that's the mindset that needs to be changed.
Yeah, and just to remind, like the basis and the fundamentals, the pillars of ours, the 2017 Youth AgSummit were leadership, advocacy, and innovation. So that's what agriculture needs, and that's what we have. So a summit cannot change the world, but I'm pretty sure 100 people can do.
Yeah, and you can share best practices or creative ideas you have in mind.
I think that there needs to be such an emphasis on the fact that we need to stop isolating agriculture as its own separate identity and industry, because it's so intersectional with so many issues going on in the world right now. You look at gender inequality issues, so much of it can be solved through agriculture. You look at post-conflict and conflict situations, all of it has to do with food and food management. Like, there's so many intersectional problems that come from and can be solved by agriculture, that it's not just that farmer out in a field. It's how do we manage to get food out to these people who don't have it. It's so intersectional that I think that maybe agriculture doesn't come off as maybe like the sexiest kind of industry or issue even. But I think we need to like step back and be like, no, so much of it is on the base of so many issues in the world can be solved through agriculture.
The thing of climate change.
Exactly.
The environmental issues. I mean, to make land arable again that before was desert or something due to climate change. I mean, with biotech and all these innovative solutions, you can do creative, crazy stuff. So that's something. So maybe now when we look around here, all these people that you see and all these top players in the development world, it's super exciting, of course. So just imagine you could speak directly to, I don't know, the Queen of Spain or, the Commissioner for Development Cooperation here. What would your key ask be to them? I mean, what would you like them to do?
My key ask, I can think of one word, and it's listen. A lot of talk goes on, a lot of meetings go on. I'm sure a lot of board meetings go on where young people are talked about and where young people are said that they need to get involved and we need young people involved. But they're not giving that platform for young people to be involved, and that platform needs to exist.
To a panel or something?
Yes.
We went to a panel about young people and initiatives young people are doing, and Sophie and I were so excited. We were like, let's go. We went there. There was one person under the age of 45, and they didn't talk about what young people were doing. They talked at young people. So it was kind of disappointing. We were expecting like this panel of like 25, 30-year-olds. Displaying all the amazing things they've done, and instead, not to disvalue all the important work that they do, but when it's labeled a youth panel, it was disappointing to kind of just be like talked at like we have been for so long.
So just the platform needs to be there for young people to be able to speak, because a lot of the sectors are organized and run by people in suits at the very top behind big board tables, I'm sure.
Yeah.
So young people just, that whole way of working, in my opinion, needs to be destroyed, because that's not how young people work. In my opinion, young people work as communities. They have conversations, they don't have meetings. We have creative workshops that we do in which we organize our ideas around, and then we have innovative ways of coming up with new social enterprises and new businesses that don't involve power dynamics. It's just a conversation. And I think a lot of organizations would get so much further if they had young people on their boards, and if they talked to young people.
And I feel like it's so important, especially in places like this. We need to stop blaming young people for all the things that they can't do and haven't done and won't do, and start giving them the tools to do it, which is what our platform is about, but what we need to see in all sectors, because we hear all of the time that young people aren't doing this, young people are the problems of this, but nobody has ever said, here's how we're going to help you. It seems to be a lot of blame and not a lot of looking to help empower young people to get involved, because it's hard. It's so hard to be a young person today and be like, I'm going to make this stride because I don't know how. And for us, that's where we all started, especially in agriculture. I didn't grow up on a farm. I grew up in an urban community. I had no idea anything about agriculture, and it was only because I joined another organization who took the time to say, this is how we're going to get you there. So if we have young people who don't have that opportunity, we can't keep blaming them.
Yeah, and finally, I would say, like, talking about the EDD, and here, I would say that why here we're just like the few of us that are under the 25s maybe, because here are not young people. And actually the policies that policymakers are doing today are going to impact the in the long term, the long-term future. So why we don't have more young people interested in politics, that would be another important question, because like law frameworks like really shape our society. So if we want to do change and make change in the real world, we have to take action today to see it tomorrow. So that my question to these people would be like, how will we make like politics like sexy again and engage more young people in it?
I think what it overall really comes down to is that my one word is care. I need policymakers to care about young people, and I need them to care about gender equality. I need them to care about sustainable agriculture. I don't want policymakers who are just going to sit in a chair and talk and not listen and say they're for youth and they're not. I need you to do your job and care about me, about her, about him, about all of the young people who need this support, because we have spent so long, the majority of our lives, not having that support. So as policymakers, the people who are at the forefront of creating our future, not caring is the hugest disappointment to me as a voter and as a taxpayer. So I would like to see that improved.
Exactly. So more youth in the board of management of organizations and companies, and also in politics, and so you're the perfect youth advocate, basically. So I will go back to my board of my company and say, well, we have 3 perfect or even 5 perfect candidates that we can directly vote into the board. So thank you very much for sharing all these ideas and experiences with us today. And also thanks to our viewers online for listening to our young delegates. Actually, you will find us on Twitter. I was holding this the whole time. So this is one first hashtag that we have, but the most important hashtag is the Youth AgSummit. And also, the most important thing is that actually we'll have the next Youth AgSummit coming up next year in November, in 2019. It will take place in Brazil. So everyone who feels like he wants to desperately work on agriculture topics, who is between 18 and 25, and who wants to be the next class of delegates should definitely apply. Applications, they will open soon. And until then, you can follow us everywhere on social media, because we are young and modern and we have all these platforms. So we have Instagram and Facebook and Twitter, and you find us at Youth AgSummit. So thanks a lot, and enjoy your day here and tomorrow as well at the European Development Days. Thanks from Brussels.